everyone. So I'm gonna cross Santiago in Spain, 800 kilometers distance of pilgrimage on a wheelchair. My name is Joey from Canada, born in South Korea. At first, I started this project because I wanted to understand disability, and I decided to be in a wheelchair because the only way to really understand someone is to put myself into someone else's shoes. But as I went on, I started to realize that in Korea, there was more need for raising awareness about the issue. Canada is a friendly country. Because everyone has different nationalities, languages, and ethnic background, being different is naturally accepted. For example, people with disabilities are more welcome to work at a place where they want to work at as long as they have what it takes. Happy working, happy living, you know? No one gets discriminated based on how different they may look from others. On the other hand, in Korea, we have so much more clothes. We have a very low tolerance on being different. So when I practice with my wheelchair, many people gave me the look as they passed by. Even though they didn't mean anything evil, it just feels not good to be looked at like that. And every time I saw someone coming to my way, I even made a detour because I didn't like being looked at. But you know what's great? The more I got looked at, the more I believed that I had to do this project. So I also think Korea is missing a lot of public facilities for people with disabilities, such as accessible transportations, ramps, and the likes. I'm not gonna go in details, but we just can't deny the Korean facility is underdeveloped in comparison with other countries with, I have to say, a better welfare system for everyone. You know, I'm not saying that Canada is the answer, but I just believe that in this very specific issue, Canada is making more people happier in a better way. And I also think, and I believe that we Koreans can do this too. I'm not trying to change the world because I know that I can't. All I'm trying to do is to leave a little tiny impact because all I want is a society where we understand each other a little bit more and care more and love more. Everything starts from a small step, right? And now, I'd like to introduce my best friend, Jang. He's coming along with me to help me with filming and other things. And he's right there waiting for us. Yeah, come on in.
Hi. Hi everyone, my name is Jang, and we first met together in the army and share a lot of ideas to make better world in South Korea. We will go together to Santiago to find the rights of the disadvantaged, and I'll do my best as a supporter. Thank you.
All right, so we're gonna go together and do this together. So watch us and be there for us. Thank you very much. Santiago project.
화이팅!
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 Santiago project.
화이팅! 에이!
Canadian energy.
Yeah.
Overwhelming. Told ya. Once everything was set, there were 3 things I should be ready for. First, stuff I needed to bring with myself. The temperature difference between day and nighttime will be pretty big, so I have to make sure I keep myself warm with winter clothings. And the others are mostly clothing, like socks, shirts, and pants. Yeah, and it's really important to bring the spray for the bed bugs because you really don't want to deal with them. So yeah, I'm bringing 3 just in case. Yeah, and that's pretty much it. And I guess I am super ready. And I wish I could bring him too, but maybe next time. Second, more training. I have been training for the last several months. I did training a few hours every day, so all I need to do was continue my training. Not a big deal. Third, an extra wheelchair. I ordered this wooden box and plan to bring wheelchairs in it safely to Spain, which I totally failed because I figured that the weight of the wooden box was miscalculated somehow, and I was allowed to bring my wheelchairs only, not with the box. And that meant I had to disassemble them at the airport. So I was told that it's okay to have a luggage over 30 kilo on the phone. And I got to the airport and we found out that it's not okay. We can't bring this luggage over 32 kilos. We can't just carry it at all. So we had no choice. We had to get rid of the box. Wasting a lot of money. And so we have to take the wheelchair out of the box and carry them over again. And hopefully we can carry this over. So we had a little problem with wheelchairs, and we took good care of it. So it's okay now. So it's not even a first day yet, but I almost feel like I'm going back home right now. Just how tiring it is right now. Well, but fortunately, Doha, the city I had to go through, was beautiful enough to keep me excited. Since we had 6 hours of waiting for our transfer, Jang and I decided to take a city tour. It was almost 40 Celsius degrees and unbelievably humid, but we still wanted to take a walk by the river. Look at this. Fabulous, isn't it? And when I arrived at Paris, I was even more excited since it was my first time there. Alright, so finally arrived in Paris, waiting for the wheelchairs to come out. A little worried about the wheelchairs. I really hope it's not damaged. Because if it's damaged, I'm gonna cry so bad. Look at here on this line. Holy crap, is my thing okay? We stayed one night and headed to Saint-Jean in France, the starting point for me. And it was a long way because the train was delayed and we had to wait for 30 minutes. When I transferred to another train, I was pretty tired, but look outside. How could I ever fall asleep when such sights are right in front of me? And welcome to Saint-Jean, fresh and beautiful. So from here to Saint-Jean, I'll be moving to Santiago in Spain. And this journey is called Camino de Santiago, meaning the road of Santiago. The pilgrimage to Santiago has never stopped from the year 812, and many people choose Santiago for different reasons, but mainly for spiritual growth. I'm not religious. Then why did I choose Camino? Well, I read somewhere that it is the road of life. It said our point of view would be changed when we finish Camino. And I was like, this is just for me because that is what exactly I wanted to do. Changing the point of view, changing the awareness. So I need to go to the Camino office where I can get general information about the Camino and a credential. On this credential, I can get stamps from albergue, which is the accommodation for pilgrims. Without the credential, we are not even allowed to stay there. While I was walking to the office, I was the only one carrying wheelchairs in that area. And I think that is why some pay attention to me and ask me what's up. I explained about our campaign, and thankfully, they supported us very much.
Wow. So you're going to go up the hill in those?
So yeah, exactly.
Because I just went to Orison today.
Oh really?
Pretty steep.
Yeah, I know. Well, I mean, that for those hills, my
Yeah.
friend Jang will be helping me
Yeah.
pushing the
Oh,
wheelchair.
pushing the wheelchair. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm not a Superman, so.
Yes, I thought that's a little hard. Yes. That's a wonderful idea. My kudos to you for that.
Not a bad start, right? Camino office was up on the hill. And when I got there were many people already in the line. And when it was my turn, I finally got my credential. And this was the moment when I officially became the pilgrim. And it was the same day when I met Marcelo, the most energetic guy ever. He truly loved the intention of our campaign, and I loved him so much. He told me about Camino Miracle. According to him, throughout the Camino, we bump into various miracles that we would never expect. I myself experienced countless miracles, which I'll show you in my next videos. He also told me about a miraculous power of this place, sharing an interesting story of his friend who suffered from depression and went to see a doctor.
My prescription, Camino de Santiago. Cure for depression, he said. So she did it, and when I met her, it was about 3 weeks later, and she was happy and energized, and she met, is it Piers 39?
Then we went to this shop which provides delivery service. This sweet girl Marina was the owner of this business, and I asked her if she could keep one of my wheelchairs here and send it to me when the one I was using would get broken on the way. But the problem was that I would never know when my wheelchair would have a problem. Maybe it wouldn't at all. So instead of keeping it here, I decided to send it to my friend in Spain who runs a burga that luckily turned out to be right at a midpoint of this pilgrimage. After dealing with the wheelchair, I went back to Burga to get some rest and ready for tomorrow. And so this is what our burga looks like. And this is how pilgrims sleep at night time. It's pretty cool here. An invitation to magnificent symphonies of snoring every night. What a place. We went back to Marina to send a wheelchair, and I also had them deliver my bag to the next stop. And we were fully ready. Finally, it was the time. We had some bread for breakfast and got ready for the actual beginning of our adventure.
It is. Ask at the office and someone will open you the room to take your bags.
We're ready now. Marcelo and I wanted to go together, but the problem was me. For 80% of my pilgrimage, I had to take the road for cars instead of the usual way for walking because I was in a wheelchair. Marcelo wanted to take the usual way, and we said goodbye. I was pretty sad. But the good news was that we got another company to come with us who was... I'm sorry, Marcelo, but we got a company who was much cuter. EJ was kindly willing to join and help me when necessary for these disastrous hills. We are at Santiago right now and heading to Roncesvalles, which is the next course. We had to take the road with the cars because the other one, the one that the walkers usually take, there are just too many hills. So we were told that it's nearly impossible for us to go through. So we had no choice. We had to take this road. It's actually it could be better than the other road because all the ways are paved, so it's easier for us. The only thing is that there are too many cars passing by, so it could be a little dangerous. So I think we gotta be really careful about that. It may not be too clear in this video, but this hill was so high that it would be impossible for me to go through by myself. So receiving help from someone was not an option for me. Many times throughout my journey, it was a must. But guess what? I believe this applies to all of us. Whether you're a male or a female, whether you think you're independent or not, and whether you have disabilities or not, we need help mutually for each other. Let's not forget, asking for help is not a weakness, but a strength. A very strong strength. Day 1 was Mountain Pyrenees, 3,400 meters in altitude, aka the most infamous. Even walking pilgrims, tons of them, give up on this course and either get a cab or stay at a albergue in the middle. That's how hard it is. I clearly remember this moment when we reached Forcalles. Our official first destination, right?
Yeah.
We feel so achieved. It was the very first village we went through. It was a gorgeous village with incredible views. And when we were passing by some stores, there was a bell ringing throughout the village. It sounded very exotic and relaxing. We need some rest, so we went to a restaurant. Had a good meal, had a good conversation with good people. What else would I need? After our lunch, we went on. We just went on and went on. In the middle of this super high hill, we met some new friends from Norway.
So this is my new friends from all around the world. And what's the purpose for you guys?
I met someone last summer who had literally just finished the Camino, and he ended up walking all the way down to the south of Spain.
Right.
And he told me about it, and then I said, let's do that.
These beautiful girls told me they carry a tent and sleep on the road.
Never do it.
How brave, right? We talked for a bit there. Nothing was like my training back in Korea. It was much harder. My wrist, that was kind of injured during my training, started feeling a little weird. I had to be very careful on how to grab handles. Was it my wrist that had hurt the most? Not even close. The biggest discomfort was coming from my butt and back. It was surely irritating to be seated on a wheelchair for too long. If there's anyone preparing for a Camino on a wheelchair, don't forget your cushion. Seriously, it was my #1 mistake. Did you know that there are ways to get free food in Camino? Sunberry. It's like a smaller version of blackberry, but it tastes amazing. We were willing to eat up the whole forest. That's how good it was. We went through another village. I forgot what it's called, but I like this one too. It looks very cute. And we stopped at this convenience store to shop for snacks. I got a few chocolate bars and Jang got some drinks. But those chocolate bars didn't help much, I guess, because later we both got extremely exhausted. From a certain point, we weren't even talking at all, simply because we just couldn't. But the real problem was something else. So we took too many breaks because of the hills. Even though I was on a wheelchair for like 10 hours, we still had 7 more hours to go. Poor time management. Even worse, one driver said it would be getting dark outside soon. We had to get a cab. No other choice. When we arrived at albergue in Roncesvalles, I felt miserable.
근데 내일 코스도 아마 좀 힘들 거야. 어떤 루트로 가고 좀 고도가 있기 때문에.
7시에 집 막히고 무조건 바로 출발해야 되겠다. 7시 5분에는 무조건 출발하는 걸로 해야 될 것 같아.
I felt like I ruined the whole thing. I talked to Jang and Marcelo for a long time. They suggest that I should stop being on a wheelchair once I get into Berge because not every albergue is equipped with enough facilities. Also, Jang and I were freaking exhausted. They said it makes more sense strategically to get a proper rest. Eventually, we decided to do so. So day first over, somehow. It was the longest day I ever had. It was super tiring. So yeah, we are very excited for tomorrow. And hopefully it's gonna be easier than what we went through today. And I fell asleep right away. Good night. Any course is not as hard as day one. Relatively speaking, everything was pretty fine after Mountain Pyrenees. Except for these obstacles. Because of these little things that we don't even usually notice, I had to turn around to go through. Imagine how burdensome it would be if we have to do that every single day. Those are really important because those little things on the road that we don't even recognize is there when we're walking. And it becomes like the biggest obstacle when I'm on a wheelchair because I just can't go through. I need someone else's help.
No. No. I don't want to help you.
In Camino, you can find many of these bars in the middle of the road. It's like an oasis. And one cup of Coke with ice can bring you back to life. At a different bar, I met this beautiful woman named Sylvia. Isn't she lovely? She told me her legs became weak and she had a limp. So it was her big challenge, just like I was doing my own challenge. I really liked her and we started sharing life stories.
Oh my god, it must be so challenging for you.
When she had to leave, we wished her good luck to each other. So on the second day, which was today, it was as tough as the first day, but this time we made it. So at the very moment we entered this village, Subiri, we almost screamed out of the excitement because it was very fulfilling. And I really appreciate Jang's effort because I would probably not be able to do this without him. When we were on our way to Pamplona, it rained a little. Even though it was 9 a.m. in the morning at the time, it was pretty dark outside. So I had to wear my life vest that was meant to reflect the light and keep me safe. On this day, we saw many other pilgrims.
Wonderful day, isn't it?
Yes, very much. I don't like it that much.
It was very nice to see them. We didn't get to see them too often because we were usually on the road for cars.
That'll make it even harder.
But someone...
Look, a lot more at the back.
Hello.
This course was one of the worst. Pretty rocky. It's not so clear in the video, but on the course like this, I needed to put 10 times more force to go forward. And yeah, crazy, right? I had to be completely dependent on Jang. I couldn't do anything. Jang even had to lift up the wheelchair and me with another person who helped him. Jang did so much work. So much. Did I feel comfortable just being on a wheelchair? No. Absolutely no. I felt devastatingly helpless. He was gasping and dying because of me, and there was not a single thing that I could do for him. You know, having this ability is not only about physical challenges. It's that moment when you feel like a chunk of burden on people you cherish.
Yeah, I need a little help.
Don't get me wrong though. I am completely aware that my little project
Can you help
doesn't
me a
mean
little?
I have a right to speak on behalf of this ability.
Okay,
I
so
would never think
can you
so.
help me, Jang? Jang?
I'm just thinking, what can I do to make a better society? What can we do to make a happier world? I believe it's not the answer that matters. It's the question we ask ourselves.
This is municipal, right? Yeah.
With it.
Wow. So, finally, we're at the Pamplona, which is one of the biggest city at Santiago. So we went through so many things together. But we did it. We made it together, Jang. That's it. That's all I would say.
Mud was one of my least favorite. When it's wet after rain like this, it's really tough. Really. On this day, I went through rocks, mud, and rain all together. My body was getting pretty sore. And since it was almost lunchtime, we decided to stop at a bar to get food. It was quite difficult to go down through this ramp because of the rain. At this bar, I met Nita and In, who are from New Zealand.
You're going to do the whole way.
Oh yeah, all the way to Santiago.
Can I ask why?
So, this is my personal campaign.
Yep.
So,
And they deeply sympathized with my project.
basically shoulders and chest and butt.
Yes.
Yeah, it's killing me right now. I need to get some takes on my butt.
So, oh yeah, because you're sitting on your butt the whole time.
For like
yeah.
8 hours straight. you know.
Yes.
More like my vision actually, because I really want to do something good to my society, and this is my very first project, and so that I can raise the awareness about disability. This is my goal for now.
Wow. Well done.
They also gave me this little gift.
What is this? Oh, it's a kiwi. Oh, they're from New Zealand, right? Oh, wow. Look at this
A
kitty.
kiwi badge that I pinned on my back for my whole journey. I had to give her a hug.
Oh, thank you very much.
It's very interesting that sometimes such small things can spark an emotional intimacy among people. It could be a little word, a little smile, or a little anything.
Gold kiwi.
After this encouraging moment, we kept moving to Pamplona. One of the hassles I had was this, a narrow path, which is completely fine for people walking, but not for the ones on a wheelchair. The space wasn't that enough for my right hand, and I had to move by pushing the wall like this. About an hour before we got to Pamplona, I asked this beautiful Spanish lady for a direction. She was very kind. She even did this supporting gesture with me.
Joey, fighting!
Oh, by the way, the truth is, I knew where to go. I just wanted to talk to her. So, some people ask me, since it is difficult to go uphill, wouldn't it be easier to go downhill? Well, not necessarily. When downhill, I have to grab my handles as hard as possible. Not only that, it's much harder to control the direction. And of course, this tires both of my hands very much. So, this is what Pamplona looks like. I was very excited because it is one of the big cities, and Zhang and I decided that we would take one day off and rest at every big city. And we arrived at Albergue we wanted to stay.
Finally, we're at the Pamplona, which is one of the biggest city at Santiago. So we went through so many things together, but we did it. We made it together, Zhang. That's it. That's all I would say.
By the way, one of the wheels got bent a bit when we went through the rocks. This gentleman tried to help, but it didn't work. We just hoped the wheel would last till we arrive at Caceres, where my second wheelchair is waiting for us. After that, we went to the cathedral, but we didn't stay inside too long. When I was just wandering around, I talked to a man. Soon later, his entire family came. They were locals living in Pamplona, and he had 6 children. We talked for a long time. I asked them if I could get my wheel fixed at any shop. They said no because it was Sunday. In Spain, everything is closed on Sundays. For pilgrims, it's very important to remember that when we need something, we need to get it by Saturday. I really liked their youngest child, Carlos. He looked super shy.
So we are done with Pamplona, and now we're going to the village called Puente la Reina. And on the way, we're gonna see the Hill of Forgiveness, which is one of the most spectacular scenes in Spain. So we are very excited.
The way to Puente la Reina was 25 kilometers in distance. It was about the average we did every day. But the problem was, even though we were used to being on the road with cars, it was just too much of it that day. Zhang even got a headache from the exhaust gas. Then, we saw a highway entrance and realized it'd be faster if you go that way.
Puente la Reina. This way.
And we took the highway. Two minutes on the highway, we got pulled over by police. It turned out a driver passing by called police. So the police said we need to get out of the highway immediately, and they had to give us a ride. But because their car didn't have enough space, they had to get me and a wheelchair and come back to get Zhang.
Wait here.
Okay.
And then come back and go here. Okay?
Okay.
Okay.
Great.
I got it.
Okay.
So I went to the Hill of Forgiveness first and waited for Zhang. When the police came back with Zhang, they said we had to get fined for 40 euro by law. It was worse than it sounded because 40 euro was almost a daily expense for me. Even worse, they said I could either pay 40 euro on spot or 100 euro later. I was sad because I didn't have cash then, meaning I had to pay 100 euro. And guess what? My first Camino miracle happened.
And I don't have any money right now. And I explained what happened to these ladies. And And guess what? These two beautiful ladies gave this money in case I get fined so that I can pay the fine. Isn't it so lovely? Oh my god. Thank you so much. Oh, it means a lot. It means a lot. Thank you very, very much. You are so lovely and amazing.
So are you. So
Thank you very
it's
much.
lovely.
I call them two angels. Once again, I'd like to say thank you very much.
Thank you. Your shape, okay?
Thank you very much. Okay, hey, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Very,
Okay.
very much.
So, this is how the Hill of Forgiveness looks like, one of the most famous sites in Camino pilgrimage. I was told those sculptures are dedicated to pilgrims who have walked the Camino before us, and it was established in 1996. On the way downhill, I thought of two angels I met. If I was asked to pay money to help a stranger yesterday, honestly, I would have said no. But after I met two angels and received their helpless help, now I would at least want to consider ways to help. Maybe the key to making a better society would be giving out hands first. It is not only beneficial for the ones who receive, but also creates a cycle of helping. When all of us do that, what kind of society would we live in? Is it possible? One thing I'm certain is, it all starts from us, you and I. Based on the map we had, the course of this day was supposed to be one of the easiest. The distance was only 21 kilometers, and the slope didn't look so bad either. At the time, we really didn't know that was far from the truth. When we got into these gravelly fields, it was the time we started to realize it was not what we'd expected at all. Gravel slowed me down a lot, and the field was long enough to make us very, very frustrated. And we stopped right in the middle. We just couldn't move anymore, really. I just wanted to quit. I didn't know what to do. And the greatest thing happened. These two gentlemen came to us, willing to help us go through the gravel. So, did we make it? No. This gravel hill, unfortunately, was disastrously long. We all got tired and had to stop again.
Yeah, cool.
Do you remember my first Camino miracle? So it was time to see the second Camino miracle. These French people appear from somewhere suddenly as if they were fallen from the sky, and they grab each of the four sides of me to move on. Every time I look at this scene, I just can't believe that happened to us.
Hello to South Korea.
South Korea TV.
Merci. Please. Merci beaucoup.
Ça fait du bien la pause.
Okay, so look at the hill up there. This is crazy. So with this, guys, I think we can do this together. Very strong. Very, very strong. So yeah, we're gonna do it together.
Oui, voilà, là, je voulais quand même le dire contre moi. Tu m'emmènes la voiture au samedi.
Thank you very much.
Merci. Merci, merci. Merci.
All I can do is to wish them the best. Wow. Man, I feel so thankful, grateful, and I appreciate all of them helping us pushing the crazy hill.
Yeah.
Because Sheng and I, we together, we only. No, probably not. We probably wouldn't have been able to do this. Yeah. See, look at the hill. Look at the hill. Wow. Look at the mountain down there.
Yeah.
That's how much we came up. Currently, we are at Estella, or Estella, I prefer calling that name. And we're moving to the next village called Los Arcos with our new friend from Canada.
Hello.
Say hi to my new friend,
Glad
Maria
to be here.
and Diana. We're so glad. We couldn't be together for too long because they were much faster than I was. But we were able to enjoy a Camino concert together. The melody of their instruments was strong enough to touch something inside of me, I think. A tear rolled down my face. Never happened before. Maybe there was what it is to be mesmerized by art. We also went to Irache together, a winery founded in 1891. They provide free wine for pilgrims. How did it taste? No comment on that. Hey, try.
Okay.
Try. I'm not gonna say anything, just try. Try and feel me. You wanna try, Diana?
Sure, I'll just try it in your cover.
Sure. So we've been walking from Estella, and it took about seven hours to get to the village named Los Arcos.
We are just delighted to be part of the process here.
See how sweet she is? This is my new friend. So we stay overnight at a beautiful village named Los Arcos. And now we are heading to the next village called, what is it?
Logroño.
Yes, Logroño.
Did you get it? Which one?
가만히 있어.
From Los Arcos to Lugnares. I think today was the hottest day ever since we got here. I feel a little dizzy right now. Okay, let's get in. We finally arrived at Logroño. These magnificent looking trees welcomed us at the entrance. Remember, we usually took one day off at big cities? Logroño was one of them. So, yes, break time. We went on a city tour. Logroño was actually beautiful. and the day was moderately sunny and breezy with a clear white blue sky. It was such a day I would just fall in love with anyone on the street. Just like every country has its own tradition, I have my own tradition. At every country I visit, I get a haircut. No specific reason, I just do. Ta-da! A Spanish haircut. What do you think? At dinner time, this is how we cooked all together. It was very fun to cook with new friends. And welcome to our dinner table. Dinner was so gorgeous, and I wish I could go back to that time. Holiday well spent. So today we're moving from Logroño to Najera. And we're also very excited today because it will be one of the longest route. So yes, let's do this, Chang. When I saw the river, my whole body was hurting and I just felt like giving up everything and diving into the middle. And you know what's interesting? Every time I thought I was just done and couldn't go further, someone always appeared to help us out. One of these men had a cane, so I told him it was really okay, but he kept insisting. If I make ending credit like movies out of every person who helped us, my documentary would be the longest one in this world. Can you guess what was the word for me? Washroom. This one had a door that was too small, so I couldn't even get inside. I decided to wash my hands only, but that one wasn't easy either. It was very, very uncomfortable, as you can see. Just because I wasn't walking, there were too many restrictions. Santo Domingo is where I met a very special woman. Lisa was the very first person I'd met in my entire life who was from Soviet Union.
Well, I was Canadian.
She said she was diagnosed to have to get a surgery, which will make her unable to walk for the rest of her life. That's why she came here, for the last time, to walk. And it was my honor to have met Lisa during her very meaningful trip.
You know what I mean about this? It's a great idea.
Thank you.
Because I find it's humanity. We have to be,
When I saw the famous Cathedral of Burgos, my mouth literally dropped. It amazed not only me, but many other pilgrims and tourists around. In Burgos, we all went to get drinks with new Italian friends. They taught us an Italian song.
Grazie signore, grazie, grazie signore, grazie, grazie signore, grazie.
And some of us were pretty drunk. We had so much fun together. Do you know what was the most exciting? I learned. I always find it meaningful to spend time with different people with different perspectives. I get to be exposed to new ideas and ways of thinking. Being different is such a great thing because it means we can think differently. This doesn't only apply to having different nationalities. Indeed, it applies to every kind of difference in the world. Woman, man, old, young, disability, or lack thereof. We can be great friends. because we're different.
Thank you. Thank you.
I still clearly remember this day when I met my new friend Claude. When he saw us, he stopped in the middle of the road wanting to talk to us. The very first moment we actually met, he just burst into tears. I told him all my stories and we clicked immediately. Also, it was very interesting that we were both from a similar area in Canada. He told me everything from how he decided to go through Camino on a trike to his personal stories. We spent almost an hour talking non-stop. We wished that I could have spent a few days with him, but we couldn't. Around 20 minutes after he left, I met a local family who kindly offered us snacks. They tried to talk to me, but, I don't speak Spanish. She kept repeating a word, mijo. At first, I thought it was her name. By that time, very luckily, Claude was passing by and he could translate for us to communicate with each other. Mijo turned out to be my son in Spanish. So, they had a son named Miguel, and he has been on a wheelchair since he was born.
Oh, mira, mi hijo, ¿cómo está? Mucho peor que tú. Tú, manos. Él, ella. Solo la silla con...
I can never forget the warmth given by Miguel's family. They truly supported us, more than anyone we've met. I promised them I would successfully finish my campaign.
Can you tell them that I promised them that I'm gonna finish this campaign?
Okay.
Proyecto de Santiago.
¡Fighting! Podemos llegar a Santiago.
I was moving around in front of the cathedral just to get a good view in my camera, and this man appeared out of nowhere and asked me if I was Joey. I was like, how on earth would you know my name? And what he told me was pretty crazy. So his name was Dalsy, and he said that some of the pilgrims got really touched by our campaign, and they started telling other pilgrims here and there about our story. That's how he knew my name. Well, he obviously didn't know my face, but he knew that there would be an Asian guy on a wheelchair with a friend holding cameras. He also mentioned he really wanted to meet us. I unfortunately couldn't see him anymore after this day. But I think he left me a really meaningful lesson. If I believe what I do is right for me and my society and keep doing what I do, people will see the value of it as well. And from there, we can form a shared value, a voice, and a power of community. Am I exaggerating? Maybe. Maybe not. The night before, I got the best sleep, so I felt super energetic. Not only that, it was the brightest day ever, making me even more energetic. By the end of this day, however, I started to realize there was something wrong with my back and neck muscle. At the time, I didn't think it was a big deal, but it got so bad that I couldn't even turn my face properly at the end. I ended up at a hospital. I was told that my muscles worked too much and that I should stop using my wheelchair. I really didn't want to, but I had no choice.
Alright, so I think my back pain got pretty worse. And we decided that it's better for me to get some rest by walking. I'm not sure how long I should walk because I have to see how good it gets. But yeah, for today, it seems like I don't have any option. So I'll be walking from the previous village to our next stop. I walked for like 5 days and then I was able to get back on my wheelchair. After another 5 days, it was finally day 38, the last chapter of our journey. On our final day, it rained quite a lot, and we both got so excited because we were only 20 kilometers away from our final destination, Santiago. The rain stopped in the afternoon, but the hills were so bad and Zhang had to struggle so much. So, can you guess where I am? Yes, Santiago. We finally crossed Camino pilgrimage of 800 kilometers. It took 38 days, and I believe it left an astonishing amount of impact on my life. The biggest thing I learned is that we can never understand each other because we can never become each other. I mean, look at me. I failed the campaign. I got injured, I had to get up and even walk. How could I ever understand what it's really like to be not able to walk for my life? But you know what? Because we cannot understand, we should try harder to understand each other. It's not that difficult. Listen to others, be genuinely interested in others, and be there for each other. That's all we need to do. My documentary does not give out an answer, but a question. What should we do to destroy the barrier separating you and me? What could we do to better understand ones around us? Well, I don't know. No one knows. Let's find out together, all together.